Merchandising, merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Welcome, everybody, to Spaceballs the Out of Touch podcast.
Hi. I don't know what to say now. You threw off the rhythm.
What rhythm? You have no rhythm.
It's true. Well, today we are watching Spaceballs from 1987, directed by Mel Brooks.
Ship is too big. If I walk, the movie will be over.
So, Bill, what did you think of Spaceballs? The movie.
It's better than Spaceballs the lower back pain. Oh, God.
That's true. It's better than Spaceballs.
The animated series.
What is this, 44 inches?
It looks more like 38.
Who asked you?
Oh, yeah. Why did that happen? But anyway, so Bill, where do you want to begin with this movie? Everybody knows it's a parody of Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yes. Obviously, Mel Brooks, most famous for his cinematic satires like Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, History of the World Part 1. Eventually decided to tackle Star Wars. And, from what I understand, not greatly received at its time, but grew an audience over time,
I can see that. I like this movie. It's so goofy, like most of his movies, but like goofy in a good way. It's kind of weird because there have been other like spoof movies, but like I feel like all the spoof movies they made when we were growing up kind of like sucked, like Scary Movie and stuff like that.
Date movie, epic movie.
Yeah, but like these are like
disaster movie.
Yeah, these are like very different, but
because there's actual jokes.
Yeah.
The joke isn't Iron Man fell down. There's more to it.
Yeah, I guess too. There's not as many like. There are references to like some things in the movie, but like the reference is not the joke like it is in like Scary Movie or like superhero movie and stuff. And the movie just in general it's so silly. It's so silly. I can't even like explain how silly it is. Like it's so literal and it's like humor sometimes where it's like comb the desert and then they have like giant combs and like that always gets me.
I like that it starts with kind of like I don't know if it was an intentional twist on the Star Wars opening, whereas in Star Wars, it's going in one way and Spaceballs is going the other way. And of course, we get the opening crawl, and I love the little touch of, if you can read this, you don't need glasses.
Yeah. Plus, like, the opening, too, with, like, the ship that's just, like, way too big. And it just keeps going.
Oh, my God. Anytime you think it's like, okay, it's about nope. And I like that they kind of play with it in the score, where like the score starts kind of like ramping up, like it's like okay, no, it's still going.
Yeah.
It's still going.
Just starts over.
And it's kind of a little wee break for nobody.
Yeah. It's pretty good. But I guess like the main characters in this movie are Lone Star and Barf.
And Princess Vespa.
And Princess Vespa.
And dated reference. I mean, Dot Matrix.
Dot Matrix, yeah. I love that. They just drive around in like a space RV.
Winnebago with
wings. It's pretty good. I mean, I love Barf. He's kind of like the best character in the movie. He's just so genuine and nice. And it's just like, oh man, like every time he smacks somebody with his tail, I just think it's great.
Oh, so you think it's great when he sexually harassed that waitress?
That was by accident. He was excited. You can't control that thing. It has a mind of its own.
Okay. Keep telling yourself that.
It's not what happened.
It's exactly what happened.
He didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, snickering laughter says otherwise, but okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah, those are the good guys, but on the bad guy side, we have Colonel Sanders, Dark Helmet, and President Scroob.
I can't believe it's Colonel Sanders. Just...
It's such a lazy joke, but they only call attention to it once.
What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken?
Yeah. But the whole plot of the movie is like I guess like the Empire, they're just called the Spaceballs for some reason.
Yeah, they're just one planet.
Yeah.
They're just like a very powerful planet, but if they're just one planet, and they've squandered their air, and they're going to go steal it from planet Druidia, which predates Naboo, but feels almost like a parody of Naboo. It's weird.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Man. And
Hell.
they're like weird king with like the curly hair and
Yeah.
stuff.
He's just dressed like a medieval king.
He's just like the Burger King. Like that's the whole time I was thinking of. I'm like, wow, it's like the Burger King, except like not like a creepy rubber mask.
And their whole plan is to kidnap the princess who's getting married, and they're gonna hold her for ransom so they could steal the planet's air, so they can get the password to the planet's air shield.
Who's getting married to Prince Vicodin?
Valium.
That's right.
He's a very
Yeah.
sleepy man. He's a very
Yeah.
sleepy man.
He really is.
Come back!
I don't know why I said Vicodin. That's a painkiller, I think.
She wishes she had some Vicodin with that guy.
Man. But yeah, it's pretty good. But like, yeah, they're just called Planet Spaceballs.
Yes.
It-
And they're often just referred to as Spaceballs.
Yeah.
It's them, Spaceballs.
So, Princess Vespa, you thought you could outwit the imperious forces of planet Spaceball.
it's so like ridiculous and like stupid at the same time.
I mean, their Capitol building is just a giant ball with America's Capitol building top just slapped on top of it.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I think their capital literally is just called Spaceball City.
Yeah, I
But
think it was, yes.
yeah,
And the ship is called Spaceball 1.
of course. They've got Commander Dark Helmet.
I can't breathe in this thing!
Who just looks so ridiculous. He's like,
Giant helmet, tie, shorts.
you know, it's like kind of amazing because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, this is like literally the only like Star Wars like parody that I can think of. I can't think of like any other like parody movie of Star Wars except this. Darth Helmet like is just like so ridiculous. Like you know exactly who he is. He's Darth Vader, but
Yes.
like just oversized helmet, and then his helmet pops open and it's Rick Moranis, and you're like,
Which is the perfect joke.
yeah,
It's like the perfect joke in of itself. That you think he's this imposing, imperious threat, but he's got this oversized helmet, and it's Rick Moranis in it.
yeah. Credit where credit's due. That guy does a pretty good, intimidating voice too.
You are now our prisoner, and you will be held hostage until such time as all of the air is transferred from your planet to ours.
You know what's funny? It couldn't have been intentional because they could have not heard what it sounded like, but his dark helmet voice sounds an awful lot like the pre-dubbed Darth Vader.
Oh wow.
Start tearing this ship apart piece by piece until you find those tapes. Find the passengers of this vessel. I want them alive!
That's pretty good.
Just like kind of similar.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to do that kind of his best, like, gotta be deep like James Earl Jones, but he ends up kind of sounded like not menacing, which is the intent, like David Prowse in the Darth Vader suit, who did not sound menacing at all.
Yeah. I thought it was an okay voice though. I was like pretty surprised it was Rick Moranis doing the voice, especially when you see him like playing with the dolls at that one scene.
You know, that's the first scene of this movie I ever saw.
Really?
I just remember seeing that part as a kid.
I love when like he's just playing with the dolls and the guy walks in and he's just like, what are you doing here? This is like, did you see anything? No, sir, I didn't see you playing with your dolls. And like he just leaves.
Again.
Yeah.
That's happened more than once.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. You know, I guess like the version of the Force in this movie is the Swartz, and
Yes.
it's vague and
Just like the Force.
yeah,
Vague,
exactly.
vague, confusing, and doesn't really make sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
Lone Star, he's kind of like a pastiche of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker.
Yes,
And he's introduced wearing an Indiana Jones hat.
of course. Just driving their space RV. I guess they are bounty hunters or just like,
Just like freelance mercs of some kind.
yeah, I don't know, because they
People know them. This Dark Helmet has history with Lone Star, even though they've never met. But he's had dealings with him where Lone Star has, I guess, foiled him to
Yeah.
some degree.
guess they're like the A-team.
guess.
Soldiers of Fortune.
I mean, the first person King Roland called when his daughter was kidnapped was Lone Star. and
Yeah.
barf. So there's some history there. This is Spaceballs Chapter 11,
That's true, man.
which must be a bankruptcy joke.
That's like a pretty nice touch in it too, where it's like chapter 11. It's like, of course it is. It's like, what happened to the other ones? It doesn't matter.
What happens in Spaceballs 2? They search for more money. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, they always joke around like they'll make a sequel to it, but I think the whole joke is like, why would you make a sequel to this movie?
Mel Brooks has been legitimately serious in wanting to do it, but I just don't think there's just never been a...
Yeah, well, especially now, it's just like, how you gonna make a sequel without barf?
I mean, John Candy's been gone for a long time now, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's like, there's a sequel
Plus,
I just don't want to see.
Spoof movies, just nobody knows how to make them anymore.
It's true, they really don't.
It's a lost art.
Yeah, because, you know, watching this movie, too, to just go off on a tangent, I was kind of, like, thinking to myself, you know, I wonder what, like, Mel Brooks' like, spoof of something like the Avengers would be like. But, like, he doesn't really do movies anymore because, like, he's earned his retirement. But, like, that is, like, something I think of, like, what would, like, a Mel Brooks, like, superhero spoof movie be like?
I don't know, but one of them would be the most Jewish superhero you'd ever seen.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because that's one of his touches.
Yeah, definitely have, like, something like Yarmulke Boy or something.
I don't know. Maybe it would just be a Captain America pastiche, but his shield is a Star of David. I don't know.
Something, yeah.
It's just something he would do. It's
Yeah.
That was always what he would do. I don't know. It just depends on when he would have made it and who he would have made it with.
Yeah, like depending on what it would be like some sort of like Iron Man parody, except like his armor is like made out of something else. Like, I don't know, it'd be like something like so dumb and silly that it'd just be like, oh, it's like Woodman, and he's just like made out of like wood or balsa wood man or something. But makes me wonder what it would be like.
I feel like you would populate it with characters, not unlike the ones you maybe saw in like Mystery Men or something, where it's like a guy with a shovel.
Oh, yeah.
and things like that. I don't know.
Mystery Men is a movie we should talk about one day. It wasn't respected for ahead of the time as it was, but it's kind of a great movie. Casanova Frankenstein.
I just like I like the touch that, what was it, Captain Amazing?
Yeah.
He's just a sellout, and he's decorated in corporate logos like a freaking NASCAR driver.
It's great. Yeah, I guess that's the
Which
best.
Smallville kind of stole for Booster Gold. They kind of made him like that too,
Yeah,
which works for that character.
definitely.
Take notes, Mr. Gunn.
Yeah. But going back to Spaceballs.
It has some of my favorite fourth wall stuff. Mel Brooks loved destroying the fourth wall in his spoof movies, and Spaceballs has got some of my favorite ones. I love anytime they do something with the camera. There's like the angry moment with Dark Helmet being like, Lone Star, or whatever, and the camera just smashes him right in the head and knocks him over. And of course, the pinnacle is, how do the bad guys find the heroes? They just check the video of the movie.
They keep looking at the camera too.
Oh, because they fast forward to where they are in the movie, and it leads to an Abbott and Costello routine, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I love it. I just love, and it just melts Dark Helmet's brain. He's like, what's happening?
When?
1900 hours,
By
sir.
high noon tomorrow, they will be our prisoners.
I also like the ludicrous speed.
Oh my god, that's one of the most famous parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Light speed's too slow. Then it's ridiculous speed. Then it's ludicrous speed, and it's just insane. They've gone to plaid.
I just love how like Darth Helmet just like flies forward and crashes into the computer. Then they pull him out, and then like he's just like so dazed, and he's like, "Hey."
His helmet is completely smashed in.
Yeah. He's like, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
I
Like,
don't know what's happening.
Smoke if you got 'em.
he's like nice all of a sudden. He's not shooting people in the dick all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great twist of the Darth Vader strangling people. Where he's like, I'm just gonna shoot them in the balls, and everyone covers their crotches in
Yeah.
fear around him. Oh god, that's great. And I love that it's. I also love that it's a ship full of assholes.
Yeah.
How many assholes we got on this ship, anyhow? I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
What a good joke.
Surrounded by assholes.
Yeah.
We all feel that way in our lives.
Sometimes, yeah. It's so dumb too, because it's just like they're all family and their last name is asshole. So ridiculous.
And they heavily engage in nepotism,
Yeah,
like a lot of real assholes.
it's true. Nepotism's nice when you can get it, I guess.
I suppose so.
But
You know what's funny? There's another weird sort of. This is an accident. In Star Wars Episode 1, they run out of fuel and have to do an emergency landing on a desert planet. What happened in this movie? They ran out of fuel and had to do an emergency landing on a desert planet.
oh man,
What are the odds of that?
that is.
I mean, I know George Lucas saw this movie.
Yeah, he probably did.
No, I mean, he must have, because Mel Brooks actually, like, he always liked to seek out people's blessings for a lot of
Okay.
these parodies. Like, he got Alfred Hitchcock's blessing for High Anxiety. Apparently Hitchcock loved it.
Okay.
He asked George Lucas. Lucas was a fan of his work and was like, yeah, just please don't make action figures. It's hurts my merchandising bottom line.
Oh man.
And that spurred one of the best jokes in the movie, where Yogurt, the Yoda parody played by Mel Brooks, talks about merchandising and how that's where the real money is made. And I love it from that moment on, after we meet Yogurt and he shows up all the Spaceballs merchandise. After that, there's just Spaceballs merchandise throughout the rest of the movie. Bed sheets, toilet paper, placemats.
I just love the dumb joke too that it just says like Spaceballs the toilet paper. Like it's just branded that way for everything.
It's perfect. It's a perfect joke.
Still good.
This is what you would call something like that. It's great. I love it.
Like Spaceballs the mug.
Spaceballs the button.
Yep. If only we had the foresights to get Spaceballs the coaster.
Yeah, we really should have.
Oh,
They were all over Comic-Con.
They were. We just didn't think of it.
Definitely not.
Oh well.
I wish I had Spaceballs the giant glass of vodka.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's funny too because like Mel Brooks playing Yogurt, it's like so obvious that he's just like on his knees. Like
It's probably so uncomfortable.
yeah, like cuz like they're like there's that part where he's just like come on everybody, let's get to the ship and like everybody walks in front of him and then like he's just like
You know what's funny? In one of the Yogurt scenes, somebody says "walk this way" in a Mel Brooks movie, and they don't do the "walk this way" joke from Young Frankenstein.
oh.
It's so weird because they do it in History of the World. They do it in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I also like you know the other part Mel Brooks plays, the president. What was his name? Snoke?
Scroob.
Screw.
Snoke is the stupid name from Star Wars. I
That's
understand
right.
your confusion that Snoke seems like it'd be a parody name.
It does. It does.
It's a stupid name, but it's in a real serious Star Wars movie.
yeah.
Snoke.
Yeah. Snoke.
Good lord.
But that scene where they like teleport him and like he's just like, isn't that a Star Trek thing? And then they're just like looking at him and then like gets teleported with his like butt first.
His head's on backwards.
Yeah.
Why didn't somebody tell me my ass was so big?
And I love the payoff. It's like, forget it. I'm going to walk. It's the next room.
So good.
Because of course it is. That's
Yeah.
just perfect. Just a perfect joke.
So good. And if we had teleporting technology, that's something that somebody would definitely do. Just teleport me in.
It's like, but you're right over there. I don't want to walk.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, it's funny too because like the movie kind of like ends pretty much like at one point. You know, we have like the fight with like Darth Helmet,
Dark.
Dark Helmet. Yeah,
They have their little ring lightsabers.
yeah, which are so stupid but like great at the same time.
Oh, yeah, it's
Or-
a fun scene. I like when they get their shorts twisted.
yeah.
I like when Dark Helmet kills a cameraman.
He did it.
Or
That is-
Grip or whatever.
That is pretty good. There's even some scenes too that like so many movies have copied, and maybe even Mel Brooks copied it. But like, there's a scene where it's like, you didn't capture them, you captured their stunt doubles.
I've never seen that outside of this movie.
Really? Okay. I remember like Family Guy had a thing like that.
Because they're probably just ripping off this joke. That's
Yeah.
all Family Guy does half the time.
That's
They're
true.
just copying scenes from movies.
That's true. But it's pretty good too, because like the Princess Vespa like stunt double, I think is just like a guy with like a mustache
And a
a
freaking
wig.
cigar.
Yeah.
I like the touch of the cigar.
Yeah.
The cigar makes it really funny.
It's pretty good.
The cigar is the perfect touch.
Yeah.
He's like, you already yelled cut. I'm already on my break.
Yeah. It's pretty good. But yeah, it's funny though, because like, you know, I'm sure we'll go back and forth, but when like the movie kind of like ends and they're just like kind of in this like space diner. And then there's the freaking like alien scene all of a sudden.
With the original actor from the first movie.
Oh, no. Not again.
It's kind of like they had like a bit and they're just like, how do we fit this into the movie? Because it's just like out of nowhere.
Look, Mel Brooks was a fan of that old Looney Tunes short,
I
obviously.
mean, it's a great short, honestly. One of the best.
I still love the fact that it's the guy from the original Alien, John Hurt. That makes it great. And he's just like, not again.
It's pretty well done, too. Like, it's kind of legitimately like, oh, crap. Like, it's like the alien is going to, like, burst out of him. And then, of course, the Michigan J-Frog. Song and Dance Man. Complete with, like, I don't even know what that's called. Like, that old-timey hat with the cane. Like, I bet you that hat does have a name, but...
Barbershop hat or something?
Yeah, that's what I always think of it. It's
Yeah.
barbershop quartet hat. Who knows? It's probably called like something like a cork hat or something.
Don't look at me, I don't know.
Yeah.
Another weird bit of Star Wars future shadowing is when we actually get a look at the air shield. It kind of reminds me of the planetary shield thing we saw in Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
So when we get Spaceball 1 transforming into a giant freaking robot.
Giant maid robot with a vacuum cleaner.
Suck up all the air.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's so weird because, like, you know, I've seen this movie plenty of times way before Rogue One was everything, and now seeing it after, it's like, huh, that's weird. Did they know when they were making that movie that surely someone must be doing something purposefully? I don't know.
Maybe. Star Wars lasted long enough to rip off Spaceballs. Is that what you're saying?
Kind of, yes.
It's like
Star Wars was built on ripping off other more famous, better movies.
Yeah. Just saying, Star Wars. George Lucas is a hack.
I'm not saying he's a hack. He cherry picked stuff from all his favorite movies and made another movie.
That's true.
That's not being a hack. That's being a genius.
I guess the Star Wars prequels, though, we can say or sequels are creatively bankrupt in some ways.
Because they have no original ideas.
Yeah.
They had one idea, a girl with a lightsaber, which, you know.
Happened many times in the comics.
And, you know, nothing wrong with that, but that's all they had.
Kind of. I mean...
It's like, should we give the black guy a lightsaber? No. It's like, whoa, what's wrong with you people? Why do you hate Finn?
Yeah. Yeah. We shouldn't talk too much about the Star Wars sequels, because they really don't have anything to do with this movie. But
none whatsoever.
It is almost like a Spaceballs joke, though, in the Star Wars sequels, where it's like...
Somehow Palpatine returned.
And enough said about that. But that's just like the biggest, like...
I mean, look.
Are you serious?
Yeah, somehow Palpatine returned.
But anyway.
I mean, look, Spaceballs isn't exactly devoid of its own bad sequels series, so...
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever watched the Spaceballs cartoon.
I did not.
I did. It was on G4.
I remember the animation looked really, really, like, cheap, and I was just like...
It looked terrible.
Yeah.
The only nice things I can say are they got back the original Vespa.
Okay.
The guy that was doing Barf did a very good job of sounding like John Candy.
Okay.
You know, you have Mel Brooks as President Scroob and Yogurt. That's fine. Decent enough voice stand-in for Lone Star. And then just everything else about it was freaking terrible. Terrible take on Dark Helmet. He was like a foot tall for some reason.
Oh. I am kind of remembering this being advertised for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why it was on G4 either. That was like they didn't air stuff like that, really.
I mean, G4 was a very weird channel, and
which I didn't even know.
Which came back and then left.
I thought it was just a YouTube thing. I didn't even know they were back on television until they weren't.
Yeah. Definitely it has some sort of cult following, but...
Not my world.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a bit of a letdown because it was like, you know, I guess people were like, oh yeah, if they made Spaceballs 2, they can make fun of the prequels. Or now people are saying, oh, if they made another Spaceballs, they can make fun of the sequels. Maybe just let it be.
Yeah. I think that's probably for the best.
I remember one of the episodes of the cartoon did kind of cover the prequels a bit.
Okay.
Each episode was kind of like covering something different, but a lot of it wasn't even sci-fi. was like a Lord of the Rings kind of episode or Harry Potter or something. And
Okay.
but like, it should have been like riffing on Star Trek and maybe even Back to the Future. That's sci-fi-ish.
Yeah.
Terminator, you could have done something with. But like doing like just anything. I think there was even a freaking Spider-Man one.
Huh. Weird.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think Barf got spider powers or something.
Okay.
It was not a good show.
Yeah. I was going to say, if Mel Brooks wrote it, though, I would be kind of curious what's his take on the Spider-Man stuff. But
I
like,
don't think he wrote it.
Okay.
He was a producer. He was a voice actor. But I think even by then he was like,
I'm done. I'm retired.
I mean, he was doing some Broadway stuff. He was kind of focusing on that.
Okay.
He stepped away from movies, stepped into Broadway, producers.
Right.
He tried Young Frankenstein, though I don't think that lasted very long. And
Yeah.
now he's just a retired chill dude. Though he did produce History of the World Part 2.
Okay.
So I guess he's like, you know what? Before I go, sequels. Lots of sequels.
There we go.
So maybe we will get Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. Though I've also heard
That's a great title. If they actually made it and that's what it was called, that would be great. But
Yes.
like,
I have seen another title I think that he had suggested where it's like, look, well, how about I've also thought of doing Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2.
oh, that's even better. Just skip 2 and go straight to 3.
It's kind of like the Naked Gun movies with their weird numbering.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I like Spaceballs a lot. It's so silly, like most of his movies. I don't think it's my favorite of his movies, but
I think my favorite might be Young Frankenstein. It's between that and Blazing Saddles. They're both pretty strong.
I think mine's probably like Blazing Saddles and Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I like Men in Tights, but I don't know. That to me, it's like Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs to a degree. I got a soft spot for History of the World Part 1. And, I've grown more and more appreciative of High Anxiety because I discovered that one a little later than the others.
Yeah, I've never seen that one, but that's definitely one I'll have to watch one of these
It
days.
definitely works better if you've seen some Hitchcock movies too.
Oh, okay.
But it's fun, it's in that kind of prime Mel Brooks era. He's got a lot of his regulars in it.
Okay.
Madeline Kahn and Harvey Korman and all and whatnot. Just a lot of familiar faces that he always used.
Cool.
You have no idea who I'm talking about.
I don't. I'm just like, uh-huh. I'm like, the robot was played by Joan Rivers. I know who that is.
Actually, Spaceballs actually has like the least amount of Mel Brooks regulars in it out of all of the movies I've seen.
Oh, okay.
Like you got Dom DeLuise voicing Pizza the Hut. That's one thing.
Which is such a great joke. It's like so stupid too, but like I love it so much.
It was the most obvious joke, and they just went for it, and they just ran with it.
Pizza the Hut.
This is a giant upside down pizza.
I know. It's great. He only shows up in that one scene too. And that's it.
And then he ate himself to death.
Yeah. Pizza the Hut.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I love it.
It's like, well, I think Mel Brooks simply saw the name Jabba the Hutt. It's like, oh, it's like Pizza Hut. Got the name.
Yep.
Pizza the Hut. That was easy.
That was easy.
It's good to be the
You know what's funny too? Like I bet you nobody thought about that until this movie too.
I don't know. The movie's been around too long for me to be able to properly guess
Oh
that.
yeah, the movie's around before we were born.
That's true.
So it's like we didn't exist without this movie being around. So
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I just remember for like a long time, I just remember being told about this movie. Like I saw like the one scene and then being told like, yeah, it's funny, it's hilarious. They got like ring sabers and the Schwartz and stuff.
The Swartz. It's so weird too, because like they never say anything about like, their version of Jedi or anything. They just say like the Swartz, and it's funny because this movie probably came out pretty close to when Return of the Jedi came out, right?
Several years later.
When did Return of the Jedi came out? Because I thought that was like 1985 or something.
Return of the Jedi came out in 1983.
Okay.
So this movie was like 4 years after the Star Wars trilogy had wrapped up. I think that's one of the criticisms at the time was like, Star Wars isn't relevant anymore. Little did they know.
Seriously. Yeah, it's kind of funny when you think about it. It's like, oh yeah, original Star Wars came out in like 1977 or something, like almost like 50 years ago, and like people can't let it go.
And they never will.
I know.
Not while there's money to be made on merchandise.
Yeah, this movie that came out almost 50 years ago, it's like everybody's still talking about it. It's crazy. George Lucas is just like, what have I done to the world?
What has he done?
Made a buttload of money. He's like, here you go, Disney. It's your problem now.
Feels that way.
Sometimes I wonder if, like, you know, he sold it to Disney. You know, everybody was all, like, hyped about the sequels. But then as the sequels went down, people, like, that Venom came out again. And I just wonder if he just, like, was, like, put on, like, the entertainment news or just watching people flip out about the Star Wars sequel. He sat back, had a cigar, maybe some brandy. He's just like, not my fucking problem.
He was lighting that cigar with $100 bill.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh, it's good when it goes like that.
Yeah. He's just like, you know what? That was a good deal. Like,
meanwhile, Bob Iger's like, this deal keeps getting worse all the time.
yeah.
Our Star Wars hotel bombed. Lucas like, sure did.
Yeah.
100,
Or to bring it back to Mel Brooks, George Lucas, it's good to be the king. Like, sitting there.
He's like sitting there. Mel Brooks is right there. It's like, I told you, Mel. Merchandising.
Seriously.
It's like, hey, Mel, what? It's good to be the king.
Yeah. Dude, the merchandising thing is just so great.
I love it. It's a
I
good
love
joke.
it too. Like, I just want to find, like, the weirdest thing that says Spaceballs the whatever.
I have a gift from a friend, Spaceballs the air freshener in my
Oh,
car.
yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah, but Spaceballs. If you like Star Wars, you should watch it. If you don't like Star Wars, you should watch it.
If you don't like Star Wars, it means you at one point probably did like Star Wars.
That's true. I think the people that don't like Star Wars the most love Star Wars at one point.
Possibly. I don't know. Hard to judge.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch a fun satire, it's funny. It's quotable.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. They ain't found shit in the desert.
Yeah.
So good. So many great moments.
I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
Too many to list.
Yeah.
So many good little touches.
Darth Helmet in his weird, like, safari gear for some reason in the desert.
So
just
random.
because.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Because it would. You know what? It would be they did it because it'd be a funny sight gag.
He just wears that for, like, no reason, too. He's not, like, deformed or anything.
Nope.
Just wears it.
He wears it so he can make faces at people.
Yeah. It's true. But, yeah, go watch Spaceballs. And I guess that's the Out of Touch podcast for this week.
Everybody got that?
Keep firing, assholes!